She's outspoken. She's not afraid to ask tough questions. She's not afraid to speak her mind. You've read her column. Maybe you're a fan on Facebook.
No topic is off limits. Straight to the point.
There's no chaser. You're now watching Straight Talk with Carla Zuill.
Welcome back. With us in studio today, we have Mwalimu Vanputten. Now, Mwalimu, I wanted to talk to you about friendships before relationships and how important and to what depth should couples establish their friendships before taking it to another level.
Well, I'm glad you asked about that. It is, I believe, essential that, first of all, one should be one's own best friend before even embarking on a relationship. That knowing who you are is essential for establishing a successful romantic relationship. I talk about this idea that if you are friends first, right, and you go through a season of friendship, then you can understand who that person is that you're getting involved with. That establishing a successful relationship first begins with you. You have to know who you are, what your values are, what your standards are, what your beliefs, likes, dislikes, strengths, and weaknesses are. And once you know that, you can establish what you will and will not tolerate based on your own values and standards. It means that you have to see yourself as a whole and healed person. I like to say in my workshops, no better halves here. Okay, because who wants to be a half a person? You want to be a whole person, and you want to seek a relationship with another whole person, right? The other thing is that you need to be on the same page. Some folks are not even reading the same book when it comes to a relationship.
Do you think that they realize that and just try to hang on, or some people can't recognize it?
I think it's both. I think in some cases, because we have our own deficiencies and sense of lack, we're looking for someone to complete us. So when we think we have found that person, some of us are hanging on even if it's not good for us. Love should not hurt. A relationship should be an enhancement of who you are, not a completion of who you are. You should be complete already. So if you have those deficits, and as you know, some of us are looking for love in all the wrong places, that means that I need to spend some time with myself to heal me, to find the hurts and heal those hurts within myself. Because whatever deficits we feel, we bring that to the relationship. Right? It also means that when a relationship fails, if we don't take the time to assess what went wrong, what was our contribution to the failed relationship, and heal those aspects of it, we bring that baggage to the next relationship. So some of us go from relationship to relationship to relationship, bringing all the baggage of the failed relationships, not to mention whatever childhood hurts and what have you. We bring all that to the relationship, and then we wonder why it doesn't work out. You know, so I think it is important that, number one, we spend time with ourselves to heal ourselves of whatever we feel is lacking so that we love ourselves. And then take the time to know that other person. And that's not going to happen in 2-3 weeks. What I usually say is when the lust and dust is gone, if you don't have friendship, you don't have anything.
Now, I was going to ask you, because I know you can't specifically define it, but you said you should have a friendship for a season. What is a season?
Going through spring, summer, fall, and winter. Going through all of the seasons, because in the course of a year, things come up where you get to see that person. You have to ask yourself, how does this person handle challenges, right? You don't want, when stress comes and you live life so stress inevitably comes at some point. You don't want a person that brings their job home and they're breaking up stuff and going through changes because things are not going right on the job, for example. Okay, so how does that person handle challenges? You will see that in the course of a year. You will also know that if you are pursuing your goals, right, in the course of that year, you will find out if that person, the mate, the potential mate, is supportive. or encouraging of you, or whether they're trying to kind of knock you down and put you in your place as such. You will find that out over the course of a year. You will also know that person's values and standards. That will become revealed, because it's easy to have a front in the first 2-3 weeks, first month or two of a relationship. But over a course of the 4 seasons, you get to learn what a person is really about, and how they handle themselves. Other things that are important: does that person make me laugh? Are they kind? Are they generous? Are they mean? Okay, some people, they have a little meanness in them. You find that out over a course of a year. You also want to know how that person handles disagreements. If that person is going to call you names and just carry on trying to make you feel small, that is not healthy. And it doesn't make for a joyous, healthy relationship. You cannot find that out in those first 6-7 weeks of the glory of being in a new relationship. You need to find out, and you can only find that information out during the course of a year or so, to really learn that person and also learn yourself within that relationship.
But some may say that that's difficult to do in Bermuda, with Bermuda being so small, and people just they can't date without being attached to someone. So I go on 5 dates with gentleman X, and then I'm pigeonholed to him. How do Bermudians navigate that when it seems like they're so quick to put people in pockets?
That's where the friendship comes in. That's where the friendship comes in. Because if you're spending time with a person in friendship, there was a famous columnist who once said that love is friendship that has caught on fire. So once a friendship is established and you have chemistry, and you decide to move slowly and deliberately into a relationship and keep other people out of it, that's how it has to be done. If you're overly concerned about what people are saying, what people are chattering about, that to me is yet another indication that you're not comfortable in your own skin. That you have to find the time for self-reflection and contemplation about who you are moving in the world to be, right? As a confident woman who is about her own goals, about her own path in life, that's very attractive, right? So when you are about the business of, as I say, doing you, right? Because if you can't do you, you can't do him, right? So you got to be about doing you, and him will come, right? Because him will see a confident, a self-assured person who is moving in their own space, out of their own genius. And that is the person that you also want. But again, that's where values and all those things come into place. You don't want to be with someone that you've made a commitment to, and they have not made a commitment to you. We're talking about a mutual situation, and it takes time to be mutual. Can't rush into it. Can't rush that process. That process takes time. And if you're wearing a label on your head that says desperation, you're always going to be in trouble.
Now, I hear many women between the ages of like 30 and 40, and they keep saying on the island, there aren't many good black men on this island anymore. What do you, because then I have male friends who get offended when they hear that, and they're like, I'm a good, decent black guy. What do you think is going on, why there's this disconnect?
Well, first of all, whatever you tell yourself is the reality you create. So if you tell yourself there are no good black men on the island, there are no good men, then that's the reality you are creating. You are creating a situation where you will not meet a good person because you've already told yourself there are no such good people, right? So we have to understand that our thoughts and our words have power, and they help to create the reality that shows up in front of us. That's the first thing. The second thing is that we, again, have to understand who we are in terms of our own values. People are not what they do, right? So if you decide that the good person must be a professional, they must be a lawyer or a doctor or some kind of Indian chief, if you will. And so all the other hardworking, decent, good men who are available, you've already knocked them off your list because he's got to be a doctor, he's got to be a lawyer, he's got to be an accountant. Then you have shrunk your pool to a very small slice of the available pie. Okay, so once again, we must understand that a person is not their job. Okay, because there are just as many highly professional people who have a lack of good character, a lack of values and standards, a lack of morality, if you will, just as there are many good men who are hardworking men. They may be teachers. They may be a typical civil servant. They might be somebody who works in engineering, who are hardworking, upstanding, honorable, love God. But we've knocked them off the list because they don't have a certain profession. So we limit ourselves unnecessarily when we have this criteria of what he must do, what he must look like, and all the rest, right? And that has nothing to do with being, quote, a good man.
Okay. And we'll have more on friendships before relationships with Imwalimu when we return.
More straight talk after these messages.